Hi, Bec Mac here for Popsart, and I am at Opera Queensland, and I am with the international superstar conductor ZOE ZENIODI. How are you?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you.
I'm so excited to meet you. Just heard your itinerary, whirlwind tour, incredible. But we're here to talk about the two shows, The Call and The Human Voice. I'm a mother of twins. You're a mother of twins. Is this like being a mother of twins, working on both these shows, two very different works, and you are the master in the middle of them?
It is true, it is exactly like this. Even if I have to say that they're not really different works in some ways. They have a lot of similarity, and the similarity is the emotional depth that we can get into because they're both related to women and to their emotional lives.
Yes.
So they're very, very different because one was written in the 50s, the other is totally new. We're doing a world premiere, which is wonderful. But in many, many ways, they are the same because even if the one, they're both based on a phone call that a woman receives or makes.
Yes.
And this phone call changes their lives, let's say, if we want to just put it simply in this way. What happens, though, what is very, very important is the fact that they are both emotionally disturbed at the time of the phone call, let's say, and they're coming from different places and they're ending in different places. But this is just like the common thread is the call and the connection, like the part that there is a voice there that we can't hear.
Yes.
So the most important thing for me is the fact that in order to build that emotionally and cognitively for a performance is the fact that we only get one side of the story and we're imagining the other one. And the other one could be the orchestra or not. Could be the voice of the man that we don't hear. So we are spending a whole process like of 2 hours thinking what might have been said there and why the response is as it is and where these words lead that woman to. So it's all very, very important because they're very deeply emotional works. They have abrupt emotional changes. The one is in the present tense, let's say, because it's happening while we're seeing it, and it is the first opera, the Poulenc, the human voice. Yes. It's a wonderful work, very, very powerful. One of, I think, his masterpieces, because it's really a masterpiece to write a one-woman show for 40 minutes where she has to be totally on stage alone and just react to the orchestral sound, but also create the orchestral sound in some ways. It's a very, very deep process of communication. So it's a very strong work because we are totally following what's happening to her, and it is really painful at times, and it's also happy at times, and it is nostalgic, and it's everything, like it's a real life following through in 40 minutes. And that's the first work, and then we are pairing it with Conor Dinetto's premiere, which is a bit different in the sense that we start by seeing the memory of that woman, of what had happened in the past, and we are coming to present tense through the whole process, and it is almost 1 hour. And they're very different also musically, because Poulenc is a French composer very well known for his very unique musical style. So, you know, when you hear a quote by Poulenc, even 4 bars, you know it's Poulenc. It can't be anyone else. He's very French, and he has very, very beautiful elements in his music and some dance elements and some beautiful melodic things that they're totally his. With Conor Dinetto, it's a very different process in the sense that Conor has his own musical language and he's using it a lot, and it's in many ways it's very orchestral, even if this piece is written for a smaller ensemble, so it's not the traditional orchestra that we get for the Poulenc. It's an ensemble that has 2 electric guitars, a lot of percussion, so it's a very new and pop sound that he's exploring through this work. So I think it's very important because, you know, we have a sense of what opera is, but actually we shouldn't, because it can be very different things. And this work by Conor actually is a very different sense of what an opera is. So it's like songs put together that they create a story, and then they're very, very, really they have hard sounds. You get tense sounds, you get sounds of electric guitars, you get sounds that would be rock, pop, or whatever. You get really pop-style songs. So it's not like something that you will be opera might be boring. Yeah. No, opera will not be boring at all in this show. And it's also very important to mention that for me, the common, exactly the thread that I take in order to be able to do that is the fact of the emotional impact that these works can have to audiences and to myself and to all women in the way that we are, because stylistically they are different. But I need to have a common place to be when I'm there, yes, absolutely, so that I can not only develop each work for what each work is and develop through the emotional situation of the work, but to develop it as a show within 2 hours. Because we are starting at a point, we are driving the audience. We are kind of manipulating the emotional state of an audience with every time we do something. So we get to lead them to the places that we want them to be at the end, or give them the freedom to be where they have to be. Yes. But this is built over 2 hours. Yeah. And it's very important to just keep that going and finish in the final note that we want to have, which is, in this case, a very positive and hopeful note. Yes. It has to do with the impact that one phone call can have, communication. It's something that we really went through with COVID. Yes. We realized how much communication could have been lost. We realized how alone we might remain. We realized how much the breath of another person can affect us, can kill us or not. And I think that these are very, very important points for us to be able to restart again after all this and know that we need people, that human relationships are the essence of everything. And this is totally proven in these two works.
I cannot wait. Now you've talked about it, I am totally sold. And what I'm thinking as you're talking is the audience wouldn't feel like such a passive role, like they're almost a participant because they are the other side. And as you said, there's one person on stage, yet the orchestra and the music is the core response, but the audience would be really present in potentially what is happening on the unseen other side of the work.
And that should be the case always, not only in this. The audience for me is part of what I do. Yeah. I feel the audience. I go on stage and I know what energy the audience brings. So I can, I'm fed by the audience, and the audience is part of what we do because we need them. I don't make art for art. I'm sorry. I make art for humans. Yes. I have to have an impact to their lives if I can, or as I said, let them free to have. But the most important thing of art for me is the fact that they can feel, they can connect, they can be alive, they can have 2 hours where there are other people, where they might be that person on stage, where they might be me conducting an orchestra, where they might be an orchestral player, where they might be the person next to them. Anything that will make them connect and be there. So it's that space between the audience and us on stage that creates the art. It's not us presenting it or just showing it. It's sharing. It's being there. That's the essence of live performance.
I love that. And within that, I always perceive the conductor as a superhuman. I can't understand how you're doing this. You have all these instruments that you understand the music they're playing, you've got the notes, you're a performative moment, but you're almost shamanistic, you are conducting the energy. What is the experience for you when you're in full flight of all those moving parts?
It's a very meditative experience. That's the only thing I can say. It is exactly as you said, because you have to be in a state of having absolute control of everyone and everything, and at the same time letting go fully. It's a very difficult thing to express, but it is, we've been in music for 30, 40 years in order to become conductors. You don't do that within 2 years of starting music, or even 10, or even 20. I know that huge conductors used to say that only after 50 they started really understanding a bit about conducting. So it takes a long time because it has to do with a long process of learning and understanding what music is and what inspiration is and what the role of a conductor is, which is a role of a teacher and a role of a sharer and not a role of a leader only as people think, but you have to be a leader at the same time. So it's a very multiple thing and very multi-layered situation. And I think what is very important is to say that it's a job. It's still a job. It's a language and it's a job. We just do it as you do yours, I do mine, and everyone does what they have learned to do. It takes a lot of nerves because there are situations that you have to face that are difficult. It takes a lot of, it's very tiring. It has the huge combination of studying fully alone for weeks and months. And then, so needing to be introvert and inside, but then being fully extrovert and outside. So you have to be able to be those two things. If you're not, and if you're just one of them, forget about it. Like, it won't work because you will either not have the depth that you need, it will be superficial, sorry to say, or you will not be able to express yourself fully when you're with an audience, with an orchestra. So it's a very holistic thing in a personality. And I believe that people that become conductors have to have all these elements, otherwise you can't inspire. So you have to be able to teach, which needs depth, and lead and care for what you do. You have to be able to understand the composer. You have to be able to share it as an inspiration to everyone, because the ultimate thing is that you have an orchestra there and an audience there, and they will have to want to make music with you. There is no forcing upon that.
Quite sexy.
It is. It is, yeah. Yeah, it is. It's not bad. I mean, many things can be sexy, but it is true. It is a relationship. Like, that's why I'm saying that everything is about a relationship, and it can be a sexy one, yes.
And I was just thinking, as you were mentioning, all the things that a conductor needs to be, and have to, I guess, develop as a human. If you could write all that list, wouldn't that make a great world leader? Like, it's such an incredible collection of characteristics that we need more in other areas of the world. Like, it's phenomenal.
I'll tell you something. I'm going to go to this subject now, because there is all this huge issue about female conductors and how we're getting to finally understanding that this is possible. I mean, I have to share a story here very quickly.
Please.
The fact that I hadn't thought of becoming a conductor ever in my life. I was a pianist, and by chance, I'm not going to go into that part of the story, I met my professor and mentor, Thomas Sleeper, in America. And after a month of lessons, which I took by mistake, I took conducting by mistake, and after a month he said to me, he called me in his office and he said, you have to become a conductor. And I looked at him, and that was 15 years ago, and I said to him, I can't, I'm a woman. I did say this myself.
And is that shocking to think of that right now?
Of course. Yeah. Because at that point, it was shocking for him at that point, but I was not living in America yet. I was coming from a different world. Yes. So he looked at me and he was like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Like, you can go to the moon. You can do whatever you want. What are you talking about? And I was like, okay, well, then maybe I try. So that's how it all started. Yes. And now, yes, I'm like, okay, where I've started and where I am and what I've done in my life, and I'm thinking, how is it possible that I said that? Yes. But I did. Yeah, yeah. So that's a huge thing, like in 15 years, to change that much and to actually be part of, I am part of 2-3 huge institutions for women conductors, and be leading the path, to open the path for others. It is important, so, to get there. And one thing that has been kind of criticized, and I think it's a plus and not a minus for women, is the fact that they do have compassion. Right. And they are able to express the feelings, and they are able to care. Yes. And some people think that this is not a gift because they think that makes people weak.
It makes people strong.
But it makes people strong.
Yeah.
And I wish I can see soon men being able to do this. Yes. That would be a change, actually, not us becoming strong. We are already strong. We've proven that. We're giving birth. I mean, we do everything.
To twins.
So we do that anyway. So what's the point about power and strength? Yeah. The point is elsewhere. Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. And just other women hearing that, and potential whether they want to be a conductor or anything that we've always been denied for so long. It's so inspiring to hear you speak and just say, even you considered that wasn't for you, that wasn't your place, but you still did it. So amazing. Congratulations. You're doing it for all of us.
Thank you. Well, I'm doing it for the children, actually. Yes. I am doing it for the next generations, because we need them. These are the future, whatever, people, leaders, humans, the rest of the world, like civilization will come and culture will come from them. And we need the arts, and we need children, and we need to be able to connect to them and understand them and allow them to be.
Absolutely. And just really finally, quickly, if there's someone out there who's listening, how could you, what experience would you want them them to come away from seeing this work with? If you could just describe it in a short, sentence.
The communication, the fact that we are humans and we should remain that, and the hope that the world will keep moving with or without us, of course, but we can really be a true part of it and a real sweet and compassionate part of the world. So we can allow others to be, and we can allow ourselves to develop and explore life and just be in the present time and enjoy what we are given. We are very fortunate people.
Well, thank you so much, Zoe. I can't wait to see you in action. And congratulations on all your incredible work. And you have to see this. It's going to be awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.